Welcome everybody to our preview for the semi-finals of the Arena Racing Laurels from Perry Barn, which takes place on Thursday evening. Joined by the same two guests, Paul Lawrence and Joe Keneally, to in the first instance review last week's heats and then look ahead to the semi-finals. We might even have a little glance at the supporting card for Thursday. So, gentlemen, welcome. If you're both ready, have a little delve into the first round and see what we noticed and anything that particularly impressed you. Right, we set off here with the first heat. To just refresh memories, Ivy Hill Sky High, Music to My Ears, Denmark, Roxy's Teddy, Paradise Prince, and Magical Arrow, who was tipped up by both of you as a leading fancy. And we'll kick off. And gentlemen, just butt in anything that comes to your attention.
Yeah, well, it's always going to be eyes on six, really. Magical Arrow for Big Kevin. Got an okay enough break, and I thought into the turn with Blitzen. But to be fair to Denmark, he bolted out of the box, and they just kind of bumped each other, 1, 3, and 6. But I don't know about you, Joe. I was really impressed with Ivy Hill Sky High. I thought he knuckled down really well and gave Magical Arrow a real good race.
Yeah, we did. And like we said, we mentioned last week about the dogs pinging out of 3 and 4 sometimes. And obviously Denmark's done that. We said that he can be a really trappy sort and then he lacks a yard of early. And that's probably cost him getting around the bend in a decent position the way he's probably come out. But like you said, Paul, going onto the one Ivy Hill Sky, it's run a massive race in behind. And obviously going forward into the semis, I thought the draw was quite tricky, but I'll take nothing away from the winner again, Magical Arrow. He's had to work hard to get to the front, which he's showing different ways he can win races now. He's leading off the front in some, and I remember he caught me out at Central Park, probably going a few minutes back, where he managed to catch, I think it was Goldie's Ginla, and he caught it by the 3rd or 4th bend and done it that way. So he's got different strings to his bow, Magical Arrow, and obviously he's done it really well there. But yeah, like you said, the seconds ran a monster race as well.
Yeah, 28.65 the winning time was ahead, winning distance was ahead, and 3/4 back to the 3rd place, back to Paradise Prince in 3rd. So second heat from the top: Glory Millie, Dave's Gift, Tasty Treat, Black Eyed Molly, Spartan Master, and Pacemaker Ted. Joe, what did you think?
Yeah, we said last week when we were doing the preview that if Spartan Master managed to improve on his trial and his sectional, especially he done 380 something in the trial. He managed to do a 361 last week, which is a vast improvement on what he's done. And look, once he's turned there, he's always going to be a massive player. And he's chasing the right dog down in Tasty Treat, who's obviously got cracking early and does tie up over this trip. So it was only a matter of time before he got to Tasty Treat. He's done it really well, to be fair, considering that it took him to get off the last bend to get to him, and he's pulled away really well. I don't know what you thought, Paul.
Yeah, I must admit I was a non-believer, but you were quite correct in that his getaway in the trial was poor, and yet in the race it was much better. And he actually rode a bump really well at the first turn. I have to take my hat off to him, because I thought these days he'd need much further than 480. And I was on Tasty Treat, so it's a bit of a painful watch at the 3rd turn when I saw Spartan Master fly past his rivals. And yeah, it was a real taking performance. And I have to say, I think he's put himself in with a massive shout even in the semis as well.
Just a heads up, guys, on the 3rd as well, Pacemaker Ted. He's been showing that he's been doing it one way and one way only. So he completely walked out last week and managed to get up for 3rd on the line. So I still wouldn't rule that dog out. He's got another massive break in him as well. So if he does it right, he'll still be a big player.
So, gentlemen, the 3rd heat: Havana Class in 1, Penny's Plumber 2, Westway Blake 3, Cooler Valley Keezer 4, Jumerai Spite in 5, and Troy Firebird in 6. Paul, what's your thoughts?
Well, we thought that the pace was going to come from 1 and 4, and it was whether 3 could break with the field. And really, it was Havana Class that took them along. And it was another one where Joe's been mentioning about these dogs where you kind of sometimes can put them in a bit of a compartment. But I think Cooler Valley Kaiser has really shown his mettle here. Although 1 is a little bit vulnerable late, he's really knuckled down and dropped his head down the line to claim the first prize. And you have to say, obviously, 3's run an absolute burst to Joe in behind.
Yeah, look, 3's one of my favourite dogs in training. I think he's an absolute aeroplane, to be fair. Another one who can do it both ways. He seems to be able to get off the front, and then he showed loads of pace in behind there to qualify, and he's held a really strong dog in Jumerai Sprite for 3rd. And we picked up on last week Havana Class. Look, he's got cracking early pace, but the times for me don't add up to say that he does stay well enough, and I think that's probably been proven. I know 28.65 is a good run at Perry Bar. Look, won't take anything away from that, but you've got to be doing 28.40, 28.30 to be competing with the best in this. And he seems to be a lovely dog, and I think probably a 4.50 would probably be his ideal trip. He seems to tie up a little bit coming home. But yeah, look, the winner's another one who's got cracking middle pace, to be fair, and he's had to show that to catch Havana Class.
Yeah, just for anybody keeping up with it, 28.75, short head 1.25. And when I look back on the video, I think Westway Blake, I got him at least 4 lengths back off the leaders at the second bend. So it was a fantastic run. So, gentlemen, into the 4th heat. Silent Ace in 1, Droopy's Ishi in 2, Rock's Home Chic in 3, Antigua Boy in 4, Queen Dolly in 5, and Candyman in 6. And Joe, maybe you'd like to talk us through this one.
Well, yeah, obviously we knew with Candyman we were in the toughest race he's had to date so far. And to be fair, it was race over after 5 yards once Rock's Home Shake's come away like that. Then to be fair, I was only watching where our boy was, Candyman, and I was confident enough here that he might get up and qualify. But look, he's chasing top class dogs. Antigua Boy, Sign It Ace, Queen Dolly's obviously no slouch, as we know, and look, the winner was out of our sights, but he's run an absolute massive race, to be fair to him. On only his 8th start to catch a dog like Sign It Ace is an incredible run for him. We actually went the second fastest on the night, and we've been beat 3.5 lengths. So it just shows how impressive Rock's Home Shake is. And look, this dog's just getting better and better with each run, and he's going to take some stopping. He made us look silly. I said I wanted to swerve the price last week, but I think you'd be all over the price now if you could get it. So he's a cracking dog. What do you reckon, Paul?
I think that was always going to be the case, wasn't it? We were kind of tossing up. We knew that he would be the correct favourite. It was all about the value, and when he breaks like that and clears Sign It Ace, then you know he's got every tool in the box, and he looks a really nice dog. We all knew about him, and he's just really vindicated and rammed it home that he is a top class dog. I have to say, from your point of view, you must be really pleased with Candyman, because he looks like he could be a really good competition dog. He must be able to brush up on his trapping somewhere. I know you think, well, 6 pence, but maybe even 500 is going to be right up his alley. And of course, the Derby in a big galloping track like Toast could play to his strengths.
Yeah, look, in time, he probably reminds me more of Hold'em Spy than he would Calico Ranger. I think he's got more early than what he's showing at the minute, to be fair. He can pop out, and look, I'm not saying he's ever going to lead races, because he's not. We're not daft enough to think that. But if he will turn handy one day, and he will put in an absolute massive run, to be fair. Look, he's had 8 races, and he's gone from A4 at Sheffield to competing with literally the very best over 4 bends in this country. So to do what he's doing is testament to Darren, Carol, and Natalie and the team. So hopefully he can get through again. Look, it's a tricky race, but he's certainly a dog to get excited about.
So, gentlemen, on to the 5th heat. Ballyboss Con in 1, Odralla Jim 2, Lenson Wheel in 3, Adele's Duke in 4, Sign It Mafia in 5, and Wine Havoc Curly in 6. And Paul, if you'd like to go with this one, in I think what we can describe as probably the roughest of all the 6 heats.
Yeah, it kind of got a little bit messy for much of the contest, a lot of disputing. And I think Joe gave Adele's a real good mention as having early pace. I was a big fan of Adralla Jim, and he just got buffeted a little bit there, but he kind of came back into the race. The disappointment was obviously Kevin's dog in the silent dog in trap 5. But on the front end, 4 was fending off the attentions of Adralla Jim. They kind of came a little bit together here. And to be fair to Adele's, really stuck his head down on the line. And yeah, it was quite a tussle. But in the end, caught me out. And I think probably just a disappointment was the selection of Kevin's Sign It dog.
Yeah, looking at the times, I mean, 29.07 by comparison, 80 spots down near as Damn It on the fastest winner. So it kind of shows exactly how scrappy the whole race was. So, gentlemen, on to the final heat. From the top, Swift Cope, Savannah Cody, Antigua Romeo, Bocco's Melody, King Louis, and Drum Crow Bent. And is it Joe? Is it you first?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I think we were expecting the pace to come from maybe 4 Bocco's Melody, who, as we've seen at Newcastle, she can be very hit and miss, but obviously 3 took a ping from that infamous trap 3 box and Antigua Romeo, and just been tapped for a bit of pace. But I watched this Savannah dog behind Doolin Duke in a trial stakes probably about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and he must have gave it about 7-8 lengths and got beat. I think it was a head or a neck behind it, and he showed massive pace. So the drift on the day would have been alarming for people. But look, he's a very fast dog, and you can never rule out dogs like Drunk Crow Brent. He's a strong dog over 5.75, and he's run it to within a length. But yeah, like we said, a disappointing dogs. Obviously, King Louis in 5, who was handy enough, but then didn't really got bulked a little bit at the halfway stage. And Bocco's Melody, she's a pup, and we're expecting a big run from her. But being out-trapped by Antigua Romeo probably put her race to bed early on, and obviously he's showing his pace, and then just been done for a little bit of early from then on in. So yeah, 3 good qualifiers, and look, take nothing away from them, and take nothing away from the winner. Look, the winning time 28.58 is a good run, and obviously 6 and 1 Swift Cope and Drunk Brent have done well to qualify.
So looking forward ahead now to the semi-finals. Starting off with the first semi-final, we'll put the form in front of you, and just out of interest, Mark Pierpont has been through with his computer software and given us some halfway sectionals, roughly halfway. These details aren't particularly scientific, but they are comparatively interesting. And looking at the first semi-final, the fastest to the halfway, according to Mark, it's Kulavani Kiza with a 12.94, followed by his kennel mate, Ivy Hill Sky High with a 13.03, Swift Cope with a 13.15, Lenson Whelan with a 13.20, Paradise Prince with a 13.24, and Pacemaker Ted, given how badly he stumbled when he came out the boxes, no surprise, with a 13.36. So, Joe, given all of that, how do you see this one sorting itself out?
I was all over 4 here, Kulavani Kaiser. I think he looks unbelievably drawn. See 3 Ivy or Sky, I'll be edging in from there, and then I'd probably have 1 and 2 moving out, and they just look drawn the completely wrong way around for me, 1, 2, and 3. So I was literally all over 4 here. 6 Pacemaker Ted, like we just said, done a hell of a lot of running to qualify last week, and he'd put the race up to 4 if he does manage to come away. But yeah, I really couldn't look past Kulavani Kaiser. I think he looks a good thing in this race.
Paul, do you share the view?
I wrote down on my notes, my head says 4. I've got this niggle that Mark could get Ivy Hill Sky High to bomb out the boxes out of that trap 3 box that Joe keeps telling me is such a smash break. But I've gone to my head, I have to say Kulavani Kaiser is the fastest dog in the race. I've just been so impressed with Ivy Hill Sky High because I hold Magical Arrow up probably in such high regard. So I think it's between the 2 of them, really. I do concede that Pacemaker Ted's got a wonderful draw with Paradise Prince moving into the middle of the track, but it's those missed breaks that have just costed him. But like Joe said, it was a real fine effort for him to even qualify behind some really decent dogs. And yeah, it could get a bit congested on the inside for Lenson Whelan and Swift Cope. So all in all, I was basically 4 over 3 in the first semi.
Yeah, it'd be difficult to imagine Mark's second. Well, I say second string, Mark's favourite probably in the 4. It'd be difficult to imagine him getting round the 3, wouldn't it? If 3 took the advantage on the rail, because he ran the rail very, very well, I thought, in the first, which is what made the race for him, really.
Yeah, this dog's got a smash break in him as well, and he hasn't shown it yet. The pace he was showing at Monmore and Toaster was frightening, and then when he got going out the second bend at Monmore, what he done to the third bend, I think it was in the heat of the Gold Cup, was literally unbelievable. What the pace he's shown there, and he's got a smash break in him. I think he's got more early than 3. I know 3's running really well as PR's just mentioned, but I just think they look completely drawn the wrong way, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 will be hoping for that ping break, which we've mentioned. And there was plenty of dogs last week who did come out of, probably the wrong dogs were in 3 last week, where they were bombing out and then they didn't have the early to get to the corner. This dog has got plenty of early, but I just think there's a massive race in 4 still. So I'll go for 4 to beat 6 Pacemaker Ted for the second qualification spot.
Excellent. Right, gentlemen, moving on to the second semi-final, and again, courtesy of Mark's sectionals. No surprise at all. Tasty Treat 12.72, 12.72 is his halfway time, followed by Silent Ace with the 12.84, Havana Class with the 12.90, Sparta Master 13.08, done very well for a dog with his stamina. Ardrala Jim 13.14 and Drunk Crow Brent 13.21. I guess with the exception of the anti-post favourite, this is the most early paced semi-final you could imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Tasty Treat did what I thought he would do and bomb out the boxes last time. But prior to the comp in the trial stakes, Tasty Treat ran from 1 and Havana Class ran from 3, and Havana Class cut right across Tasty Treat, and there was all sorts of trouble, let alone that Havana Class still had the early to lead. So that could be the case again. It could easily be a squeeze with Silent Ace trying to show early. Adrala Jim was showing early as well before he got buffeted at the first turn. So all in all, it looks as though there could be a little bit of argy-bargy on the rails. And I thought, really, Sparta Master could take advantage of any of that crowded on the inside, and he could mow whatever led out of Havana Class or even Tasty Treat late like he did last time. Drunk Crow Brent must have some kind of a squeeze. If he could only get some kind of a little bit of a better break, he'll put himself in the contest. And if he got first jump on Sparta Master, then he'd be a big runner as well. I was between the outside pair here. I don't know what you thought here, Joe.
Yeah, really, a really tricky race. 1, 2, and 3 all flying to the corner. I'm just going to side with Silent Ace. It might sound silly being flanked by complete paces in 1 and 3. I'm just going to go for him to show his class here in a difficult race. Like 3 Havana Class would definitely want to be drawn inside Tasty Treat. I know you've just mentioned that he led him, but I think if you offer Rab and Liz to draw, they'd want to be inside Tasty Treat for definite. And look, it could get messy to the bend, but I'll go for 2 to reel in whatever leads. I think out of 1 and 3. I think he would struggle, to be fair, to lead 1 and 3, but I'll go for him to reel him in probably by the third bend and show his class from there. You can't really get away from Sparta Master for the second qualification spot for me. He did exactly what we thought he would do last week, improving on his run to the corner first time round and second time round to do 28. I think we said 28.54 what he done, which is a massive run. And I do think he will hold 6 to the corner, Drunk Crow Brent, and that's why I went for 5, just over 6 to finish second. Whichever led out of them, I think would then go on to finish second. I think 5 can just hold 6 to the corner. So yeah, it'd be 2 over 5 for me.
And moving on to the final semi-final, and what a cracker it is. We've got 4 of the heat winners in there. So again, working to marks, sectionals, no surprise. Roxhome Chic with the 12.70. Ideal Duke 12.98. Magical Arrow 13 flat. Candy Savannah Cody 13.05. Candyman 13.16, and surprisingly enough, Westway Blake 13.26. So, Joe, what do you think?
Well, I said last week that it was our lad's hardest race to date, Candyman, and to be fair, we've only had to wait a week for that to change, and it's now becomes his hardest race of his life he's had. And we mentioned earlier he went second fastest last week in over the 36 dogs and was beat 3.5 lengths by Roxhome Shake, who's, we mentioned, just getting better and better. I think 3 can take it. I think 2, Roxhome Chic can take it off the front again, and then it's what finishes second to him. I'll just go with our boy in 5 to qualify. That is probably my heart more than my head. But look, he's got plenty of pace, as we know, and it wouldn't be a massive surprise to see him finish second. Of course, it wouldn't, because 4 has to lead. 1 will obviously want to be inside 2, and Magical Arrow, we've seen last week, can do it both ways. But I'll go for that to be a little bit above. I'm hoping maybe 4 can do me a favour and blast out and maybe stop 2 getting a run that he wants and stop 3 as well, who's a cracking dog. So 6 is really well drawn. I'm definitely going with my heart. I've decided. So 2 to beat 5 for me. I'm just hoping we can get through in what is an absolute unbelievable. This could easily be a final for me.
Give him some help here, Paul.
Roxhome Shake is obviously, we've waxed lyrical about him. He's really coming to the fore, and he seems to be improving with every run. The 28-21 effort was really something, despite the fact that we've already seen him do a 28.10. It was the company that he kept as well. So that was a real taking performance. He's just got to clear Savannah Cody, who may edge off, but you just expect him to get some kind of start and do that anyway. Magical Arrow has got a draw to operate from because Candyman doesn't break. So I'm going to take Kevin's dog to chase home Rocks Home Shake, but obviously we'll be looking to see where Candyman turns. Adele's Duke's got a little bit of early. Westway Blake hit and miss at the start, so they could put themselves into the race with any kind of rate. But I think all things being equal, I'd be 2 and 6, and it looks an obvious forecast.